here. Why the reason we are today gathered here is for a specific reason. So before I start describing the reason for what we all are here, let's discuss of something new and innovative which can add on to our knowledge. We all have come here for a reason, and that reason is to understand entrepreneurship in a different sense. This different sense is particularly about creating your business into IT domain. The presentation which we'll be discussing is for about 40-45 minutes, and then we can have a small question answer session wherein we can discuss all the queries that you have, and we can understand that what are the challenges that we usually face into this domain. So first of all, what I can say is that everything in this world is generally said that starts with a question. Considering the same amount, I would say that this webinar is also starting with a question that why are you here? The only reason for you to be here may be because you want to become an entrepreneur, or maybe you have an idea to do something. That is what we're going to take ahead in the next 40-45 minutes, discussing on how can you build this idea into a successful venture. First of all, I would like to bring on your attention to something, that 70% of our brain is usually utilized into innovation. A study conducted by Oxford University says that we continuously innovate but do not explore our innovation. That is the reason why young buddies, young engineers, young experts, young advisors have ideas in their minds, but they're not even able to explore them, not able to challenge to what they are being given to. Usually this happens because there is a lot of gap between what has to happen practically and what is running through the idea. Maybe the reason can be the finance, maybe the reason can be lack of resources, maybe the reason can be lack of knowledge, maybe the reason ultimately can land up to something which you don't know. That is unfortunate, misleading circumstances. What we are going to basically discuss today is that how to establish this idea of building a business into the IT domain in the upcoming sessions. Let's make a goal. Our final targets would be to understand how to set up a successful business in IT domain, to understand why to do this, to understand what are the challenges that you're going to face while doing this. This will be the outline of the entire speech session. When I speak ahead, you would like to know that why is it that you're sitting to understand a webinar from me. All of that Mr. Paras has already told you. I would like to bring into you this into another words, or maybe into another way. It is maybe because I have something to share with you. Or maybe I can say that I'm just as you are. It's just the difference that I've gained in the past 8 years of my life while I was working as a corporate trainer in a few organizations. I've dealt with a lot of people who have been struggling with similar challenges, that they have to be uh, making a business into IT domain, and they have always had some or the other queries which they were not being able to fulfill. So I thought of this way, that why not to share my experiences with you all. I would like to bring out a misconception out here that this is not a typical webinar. I'm not going to give you some sort of bar graphs or pie charts or something like that which will bore you for the next 45 minutes. What we'll do is we'll make it as a very good session wherein I'll share my ideas with you. You can have a look at these ideas and implement them later on. To bring on, let's discuss the agenda. The agenda says that what it is to be an entrepreneur, what is the IT business all about, what are the market dynamics and the scope of current revolution, what are the survey statistics and evolution methodology in IT domain. I know this sounds a bit boring, but it is not. Domains in IT business in specific, how and what to establish, managing costing, budgets, etc. Challenges that you're going to face when you move on in the practical exposure environment, analyzing profit and scope of work in the IT industry. Then I'll share a live case study with you, and then we'll come down to the conclusion. I would request you all, if you've got certain queries, you can note them down and we'll discuss them at the end of the webinar. First, let's see what it is to be an entrepreneur. I was going through Wikipedia and there were a lot of definitions which stated what is an entrepreneur actually. But then some way down, I came down to a definition which was very good. It said, an entrepreneur searches for change, responds to it, and exploits opportunities. Innovation is a specific tool of an entrepreneur, and hence an effective entrepreneur converts a source into a resource. This was being said by Peter Drucker. He is himself an entrepreneur leading an organization. What a beautiful definition it is. Or I can say that what a brilliant thought it is. An entrepreneur is actually about adapting and creating changes, responding to situations, and exploiting the opportunities. This means that if I have some situation, I will adapt to that situation, create changes to stabilize that situation as soon as possible, responding to all situations, and exploiting every possible good opportunity that lands at my way. The most important thing that lands up is, as you can see, there's a bulb and a lot of people with different opinions standing by. But the only person who will be successful, a successful entrepreneur, would be the person who will be able to enlighten that idea. That would be converting that idea into existence. I don't think anybody would think this way, that adapting to a change or exploiting an opportunity would be, the definition of being an entrepreneur. But I think this way, because until and unless you're able to exploit every possible opportunity, you're not able to become a successful entrepreneur. So from now, let's make it a point that we organize all our thoughts together out of different opinions to make it and build it a successful and a challenging environment. Let's know, what is this IT business all about? I would say that IT, the word information technology as abbreviated, is a term that encompasses a lot of factors with it. The first factor is global competition. The reason behind this is that there are a lot of people who are into the market and are challenging themselves to get stabilized and achieve something good out of this market. The only opinion that I've been seeing since the past 8 years is that a person usually wants to put down some amount and construct it to a bigger amount. That is the only motive to enter inside this IT business, is the focus over the money, less investment and more outputs. Second is market sickness. A very good example, I have it in my mind, when I was thinking about market sickness, is that the changes and the evolution in market that have come up. Recently, the prices of petrol rised up in India. This challenge that we had, the rise of petrol rates, has created a lot of change in the entire market. All the products were severely being affected. The rates of transportation, manufacturing, everything were being affected simultaneously with the increase in the crude oil. So what ultimately landed, that the market is kind of sick. It is dependent over factors. If there's change in one factor, there's a change in another. Then comes a very important fragment, deadlines. In the IT industry, everybody has a lesser amount of resources. For example, I say that I want to establish an IT business. What I can do is, I can purchase, say, 10 laptops, hire 10 people, and ask them to work on this. What matters is not those 10 laptops or those 10 human resources that I've hired. What matters is the effectiveness of the deadlines that I meet in them, the delivery of the final product, short amount of initial finance, recession, a very vital and a very important term that, shakes down the entire segment, which says that the IT business constitutes of a term called as recession, which once hit or once striked can change the entire theme of the market. Then comes a very important fragment which says long and short-term goals. What is this long and short-term goals? Let's have a discussion on this. When we talk about, say, long and short-term goals, we say that where do we want to actually land up? If I say that I want to become Sebastian Vettel someday, I would have to start on the Formula One track. But if I say that I have to become a normal racer, then I can begin up on a normal road. In the similar way, if I say that I want to make my IT business equivalent to that of Mr. Bill Gates, I would have to start running faster, choose a different pace, choose a different road, choose a different path. So ultimately what matters is my ultimate final long-term goal. Because of that, I'll be able to decide my short and medium-term goals. I'll give you a very typical insight. By the mid-century, there'll be an additional 3 billion people. Understand the amount of growth in population that is occurring, which means that there'll be more flexible demands to be fulfilled, more flexible needs to be fulfilled, which means ultimately there'll be a need of the IT industry. What if I say that by the year 2020, the population is expected to reach 22 million, an approximate figure. If I start writing the number of zeros in 22 million on my check, I guess my check would small low. So if I say that in another 8 years, if you are there, you are there. If you're not, then don't think to enter. The only reason for this is, then the challenges would be more, finance would be more, resources would be less, and effectiveness of delivery desired would be very, 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 very high. So why not to say that we are right now in a very good phase to enter inside the market and create a revolution? I would ask you a question today. This question is, are you ready today? Put this into apostrophe quotes and write it down on your walls in capital letters. Am I ready? If not, what is to be done then? Market today is changing more than even the speed of light. A cell phone is discarded even before its official release. A very good example for this is the moment I said that an iPhone 5 is going to be launched into the market, there were several people who gone through the reviews that were being given by the developers of iPhone 5. And even before its official release, 60% of the people, according to a market survey organized by Grease Monkey, said that iPhone 5 was already being discarded before its official release. The reason for that, maybe because of the reviews of the peers, maybe because of some challenges that iPhone 5 was not able to overcome out of iPhone 4S, or the technology. So what I mean to say is that the market is changing. It is hot today. The iron is hot. Put it on the bladder and hit it, dear friend. Think again. Am I ready? Or I would say, are you ready? If I say that in a current generation, I pick up a graph, I say 0.8 billion number of cars, 0.9 billion number of personal computers, 1.3 billion number of telephones, 1.4 billion number of credit cards, 1.5 billion number of televisions, and 3.3 billion number of mobile phones in a country. I would rather say that you multiply this with 10 raised to power 10 when you talk about the upcoming generations. As I see today, my brother, who's in 4th standard, has a cell phone. The technology is changing. He's adapting to it, which means that the moment he comes equivalent to my age, he would be further and far more advanced than what I am currently. If I say that 1.2 billion mobile phones are sold annually in 59 countries, I would actually be saying that the number of mobile phones sold is greater than even the number of people exist. So what is this all about? It is all about understanding that the market is growing at a very fast pace. If you enter today, you are in. If you don't, then you'll be lagged behind. Let's talk about the trends shaping into the future. World's population doubles in every 40 years. Developed countries' population living longer. Undeveloped countries have faster birth rate. Global economy more integrated. Economy and society dominated technology applications. Pace of technology development increasing at a faster rate, which means that you have to think today. Security technologies, intelligent machines, robots, biometric imprints, all of this globally says that you have to do it today. What we'll discuss. Let's talk about one technology, say biometric print. As you can see that about 49.75% of the market is dominated by one technology. What are the challenges? If I say that you enter inside this domain, say you start manufacturing a finger scanner, do you think you'll be able to survive the amount of competition? Or if I say that you enter inside the other biometric markets, a very niche market, but then the number of challenges faced will be more. It was a time when Mr. Bill Gates introduced the first tablet PC, created a revolution. But now, with every second there is something or the other new. Writing pens is one of the latest technologies that have come down. You've got many choices to understand what to do. Let's talk about the different types of business in IT domain that can be done. IT consulting firms maybe for network, security design, architecture design, or I can say you can become an internet service provider, or we can say that you can enter inside web design and development, or we can say that you can become a managed service provider. What is this managed service provider? Let me give you a very brief insight of this. We talk about big companies like Vodafone, Aircel, and many other companies which are itself the service providers. These people, when end up to the business customers, they provide them with an effective solution along with network connectivity to increase their security or services. Then we can enter inside web-based application development, or you can go in the software development field, or you can go in the system integration field, or we can go for data communications, or we can go for e-business solution developers, information systems developer, data mining, were the various types of businesses that could have been done or being chosen by you. Let's come down on how to establish a successful business. First, choose a type of business. Out of a lot of types that we discussed that can be chosen from you, choose just one. Do not waver. The best way to succeed in life is to choose amongst one. Choose one amongst the two, and then never think that why didn't you choose the second one. Then decide the amount of risk you're willing to take, considering all the aspects. Then select, create an online website and see how does the market respond to it. Start your business. Put down enough amount of money and other resources in a way that it fulfills the company's needs and requirements. Then strategize, create a business plan, keep cool, stay calm, And then comes the most important factor. Believe me, in these 8 years, I've learned this, that if you can't do this, you cannot survive. In a business, you need to believe people. Believe means strongly believe. Trust them, but test them. That is, don't have blind faith on somebody, but you need to believe them for some tasks, because if you don't, you'll be the person landing into the pit. How can you see that is your business plan is working to the best? See if it suits the business, if it fits the business need. See if it's realistic, it can be implemented. See if it is specific, that you can track all your results according to this plan. See if it clearly defines the responsibilities of implementation. See if it clearly identifies the assumptions that you're taking. See if it's communicated to the people who have to run it. Make sure of this. If you're hiring some people, they are not just humans you can utilize. They are people as a part of your organization. Help them. Communicate with them. It gets people committed to you. It's kept alive by follow-up and continuous planning processes. Let's talk about how to create budgets and expenditures for this. Take time, take the team. It is not something that you want to show to your banker that how good budget can be created. It needs to be created considering all points that your companies and the management team would require. It takes a little practice. If you cannot do it, don't do it. Call a financial advisor, but do not land up to something that lands your company into losses. Any business can be budgeted. I tell you, any business. Even if a person who's selling tea across the road can budget his monthly expenses. Use a Gantt chart. This is a computer-oriented term that will help to manage your business expenses. Do not try to budget to the last penny. What I want to say is that your last penny, the last particular amount that is left with you, will not help you in any way to build up. This is something that you actually need to manage in a different sense. What is this different sense that I'm talking about? This different sense actually means that your business should be set in a way that your budget should be able to understand the needs and the requirements of the organization. Finally, when we come down, I would say that ask your how are you doing compared to the budget? That is, what is the actual result as compared from the plan? How must we do now to have a better result in the next month? Then what are we learning so that we can improve in our next year's budget? This is a few guidelines and a few tips that I would like to say that you can do when you are planning for a budget. Then comes turn your idea to existence. In the very beginning, I said that the best definition of an entrepreneur is the person who can turn an idea into physical existence. The first thing that you need to do this is be creative in your approach. Until and unless you're creative in your approach, you'll never be able to achieve what is your idea. Secondly, be as committed as possible, because until and unless you're committed, you will not be able to fight for your dream. It takes a lot of hard work. Communicate everything to your partners. Hiding or lying would never help you. Encourage everyone to present their views. Appreciate if something is good. Control your expenses strongly. Try to exceed customer expectations with every business. Apart from all the above tips, you can do anything. These were all conventional methodologies. You can make any place if you think out box. One last step, make it as a very important point. This is something that's going to help you the most. Always learn from your failures. If you celebrate your success, keep it a point that you celebrate with others also. Everyone who has contributed to the growth of this business needs you to celebrate with them. But it is also very important that if you failed in a task, you'll have to learn from it and correct it the next time. This will help you to run your business successfully. Let's discuss a general case. A few years back, I was being told that I had to give suggestions on implementing a new business that was for a network security firm. This was in a small place called as Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. The challenges that I actually felt there were that the people there didn't had any idea about what is this network security. A few learned people amongst 1,000 knew the definition of network security. The rest were completely blank of what is this all about. So the resources were pretty difficult to be made available. Office space, hiring people was pretty easy job. But then when I talk about creating resources, the technical resources, it was very, very difficult. For example, if I go to a small town and I say that hacking is my profession, which I'm proud of, honestly, if I go and talk about this to someone else, there is a usual feedback that I get, oh, you're a hacker, you're a thief. And that is the where point I understand that it is only because of lack of knowledge that the biggest challenge comes to you. You can fight down with any challenge that you face, but you cannot find with a place where you do not have people which are not so knowledgeable to understand your idea. Bringing that into existence is a change. Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, when started creating Facebook, was being criticized 1,000 times by 1,000 different people with 1,000 different opinions. They said, man, you're doing something wrong. What you should do is you should concentrate on your studies. But ultimately what landed up was a beautiful product that we utilize in our day-to-day lives. So converting that idea into existence is something which is the best part. What can we do to this? What can we understand out of this? The only thing that can be actually understood is that stay calm, stay cool, be patient, and believe in yourself. Believe in your idea. You can do it if you have thought for it. Your capital letters on the wall says, am I ready? If you are ready, then hit the bullseye there. You will be able to do it if you have got faith in yourself. In all together, I would like to summarize with a small point. Dream it, believe in it, and then achieve it. Thank you so much. Paras sir, that's all over to you.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me, Mr. Deepam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Deepan, that it was really nice attending the webinar for the students. Many of them have they told me in the chat option, and they have raised some questions in the chat. So that is, I have invited the questions. I did invite the questions at the end of the webinar, and they were one of the attendees, that is Mr. Prashant. He has asked that
Mhm.
where to get investments from for the business. And then if you can suggest some investors they can contact for the business, so that would be helpful for them.
Sure, Prashant, that's a very good question. The answer to your query is that when you start talking about IT business today, the domain is fulfilled with a lot of venture capitalists present in the market. You need to build a strong business case, that is, build an ideology that you want to convert into existence. There are a lot of people in India as well as abroad who are waiting for successful people, who are waiting for good ideas that can be implemented down and can be changed into successful existence. And they want to put down finances. What I can assure you of one thing is that if you have got a good idea, create a good business case, put it down to a venture capitalist. These venture capitalists will put down a lot of finance to your business case, and they'll help you to do this. For a list of venture capitalists, you can Google them down, and even if you feel like, you can have my email ID, you can drop me an email ID, I'll help you with this later. Any other questions, Mr. Paris?
I hope Prashant has got the answer for his query, and I've got a few other questions. And the next one which I'll ask is Divya has asked this. If you can please explain the word Gantt chart. Is it a software they can use, or is it something else? As in, if you can elaborate this technical term.
Okay, sure. Divya, Gantt chart is an software oriented term. I'll describe this to you. This term is basically a graph. Gantt chart is a graph which starts with a zero origin. We plan that if I start from 0 day and in 30 days I'm going to achieve, say, 30 projects completed. So what I'll do is that I'll mark this on this graph, and I'll say from 0th day till 15th day I'll have to complete 30 projects that will consume this much amount of budget. And I'll create a bucket downstairs on the same page wherein I'll say that if I've got $100 million to be invested in these 15 days for consuming those 30 tasks, what was the amount that I took out of my bucket? So that now I have both the pictures in my hand where I can see the number of days, the number of projects, and the leftover budget that I have, all together when drawn into a single page line. This is usually being done by the management team. If you are the manager, if you are the entrepreneur, you'll have to do this. What you can do is you can download a graph, the Gantt chart example from Wikipedia. Do it. It is usually done for operating system schedulings and budgeting purpose.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deepam. And one more question I've got from Ram Prasad. That is, he's asking if you can please give some ideas, which, as in for the which are requiring low investment, for some startup ideas which are requiring low investment in IT business.
Sure. See, IT business is something that's the best way wherein you can put less amount of resources and capital and you can grow more. So I'll take you to a picture. The picture says that if you can establish a company where you can develop websites, you'll require a laptop, internet, and a software which is available free of cost online, wherein you can develop websites for people and sell them. This needs a lot of technological brain to be put down. If you say that you need a lesser capital, a lesser technological resource, there is another ideology where you can say that you can hire a group of two people, say, get them two machines which are not required for so high configuration, so you can even go for second-hand computers. This business can be run to manage and maintain services for organizations. For example, Blue Dart is a very big courier company which has its business operations running all over India. Their software needs to be managed. For that, they have a budget of say 18 crores an annum. So 18 crores an annum can be taken down by you just using two computers and two technological experts who can maintain their business for all faults and queries.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
Any other
Deepam, once
questions?
again. Yeah, I guess I have one more question, one last question, and it also, the answer of the previous question also answers this question. The question is asked by Sagar, as in he's asking minimum amount or investment which is needed to start an IT business. So I guess he might have got the answer in the previous answer only, but still, if you have some points to add on, you can answer his question.
Sure. Sagar, what I would say you is that there is no or nothing which is called as a minimum investment. You can start with zero investment, a brain. That is the biggest, that's the most valuable thing that you have. So a zero investment in a technological brain would give you crores and crores. So don't worry about the minimal amount.
Yeah, Mr. Deepak. This ends the number of questions I have got from the attendees, and now I would thank you, as it was very great to have you as the presenter of the webinar. It was very good experience for Nurture Talent Academy to have you as the presenter, and I would also thank all the attendees who have attended the workshop, which was being taken by Deepam Kanjani, and this workshop was organized by Nurture Talent Academy, which is the first India's first entrepreneurship training institute. So I would suggest you to visit our website, which is nurturetalent.com, for any updates regarding the future events or webinars. And I would also request Mr. Deepam to share his email ID or his contact number, so that if attendees have any doubt in future, so that they can get in touch with you, and so that they'll be very eager to know your email ID. So if you can share the email ID or the contact number.
For all the attendees, this is my email ID on your screens. You can note it down. And lately, before leaving the webinar, I would like to thank Nurture Talent Academy to give me this opportunity to talk to great-minded people. And it was a very good experience talking to you all and sharing my experiences. Usually people do get very less number of chances wherein they can share their experiences. So it's a very good thing that I got this opportunity. Thank you, Nurture Talent Academy, for this. And I feel what Nurture Talent Academy is doing right now is something that has been required by Indian youth to understand what is entrepreneurship. There's nobody to train them to build successful business. So I would like to say thumbs up for you, and keep doing this good work, and I would love to be associated with you all the time. So for any queries, you can drop me a mail anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Deepam, and for your courtesy. And we would now end this session right now. And if I will suggest to the attendees, if you have any doubts, you can contact Mr. Deepam on his email ID. You might have noted down his email ID, so you can get in touch with him for any further queries. And you can visit our website also if you have any of the doubts regarding entrepreneurship or startups. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Have a good day and a good life ahead.